Hello everyone, welcome to show 2. We are live from St. Louis, Missouri, and it's time for our main event. This is Randy Orton versus Bret Hart. In anticipation of this match, I had already flipped a coin. The coin landed on tails, so instead of Bret Hart versus Randy Orton, we are getting Randy Orton versus Bret Hart. We would have had Bret Hart versus Randy Orton had that coin flip shown up heads. So, let's get right into it. In preparation for this match, I looked up the top 3 matches of both men, and I did some research on that. I already did this research for Bret Hart, but I did watch an additional match for him. I watched the steel cage match he had with Owen Hart at SummerSlam. I don't remember the year, but that's the one I watched. So we have 42 signature moves for Bret Hart, and we have 2 finishers. We also have 4 high spots. And the injuries that Bret Hart will have to worry about are his multiple concussions. Any offense to Bret Hart's head has the chance to be a critical hit, and that will deplete his health over time. For Randy Orton, the 3 matches I watched were Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton at Backlash 2004. I watched the Elimination Chamber match at New Year's Revolution 2005. And I watched the Fatal 4-Way between Randy Orton, Edge, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena at Backlash 2007. From those matches, I determined Randy Orton's signature moves. Those are 27 of them. He has 1 finisher, the RKO. I'm not including the Ozone. We don't need to include the Ozone. The Overdrive, not the best move. Anyway, and then we also have a number of high spots here. His injuries are multiple shoulder injuries that he sustained over his career, as well as a herniated disc that he acquired in 2001. I say acquired, he more suffered it. And then his most recent injury, which is a spinal fusion that he had to have done just in the last couple of years. So any offense targeting Randy Orton's arms or his back, that's going to be liable for a critical hit. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I will also bring up these point values here. I developed these point values based off of three criteria. So I looked at the cage match rating for both wrestlers. I know Bret Hart's somewhere in the 9.4, 9.5 range, and I know Randy Orton is somewhere in the 8 range. So I made that 90-some points for Bret, and I made it 80-some points for Randy Orton. Yeah, that's right. Randy Orton is 8.2. Bret Hart is 9.5. I also combined this with their win percentage, which is 64% for Bret Hart and 53% for Randy Orton. And then I also broke down the number of titles that each man has won over his career into points. I basically gave them 5 points for world titles and single titles, and I think 3 points for tag titles. So all of that came out to 185 points for Randy Orton and 232 points for Bret Hart. Now you may be asking, hey, why is Bret Hart at 218 if he has 232 in the bank? Well, during his match with Bryan Danielson last week, or last pay-per-view at Dead on Arrival, Bret Hart ended that match with negative 14 damage to his head. Now he has recovered from that match, however, he didn't recover to the full 100 points that he would have on the head. He rather recovered to 86 points because of that negative 14. So we take minus 14 from 232 and we get 218. So I hope I explained that well enough and didn't stutter too much. But I'm going to take some notes here and we're going to get right into the match. So we already flipped the coin. We are now going to roll some dice. Okay, so for Randy Orton, these are his finishing numbers, 3 and 2, and then his critical hit will be a 4. Okay, so to hit a finisher, Randy Orton will have to roll a 2 or a 3, and then for a critical hit, he will need to roll a 4. For Bret Hart, a 1, a 5, and a 4. Okay. So if Bret Hart wants to hit a finisher, he'll have to roll a 1 or a 5, and for a critical hit, he'll have to roll a 4. Okay, so the way this works is always even numbers go to Bret, and odd numbers will go to Randy Orton. So if I roll a 1, 3, or 5, that means Randy Orton has control, and he'll have to roll a 2, 4, or 6 to hit Bret Hart. If he rolls another odd number, he will taunt and regain some health. He can also regain reversals as well. Each man will start with 5 reversals. And the opposite goes for Bret. He needs a 2, 4, or 6 to have control, and then he needs a 1, 3, or a 5 to hit Randy Orton. If he hits 2 even numbers in a row, he will just recover some health points there as well. So let's get right into it. This is going to be the first roll of the match. Randy Orton versus Bret Hart. Let's go. Okay, we got a 1 over 1. Randy Orton's going to taunt, which means he gets 1 health point here. 186. 2 over 1. With a 6, Bret Hart's going to start out with a signature move. So he has 42 signature moves there. Going to hit number 7. So what is number 7? That is a DDT right off the bat. Okay. So that means we'll go back here. Randy Orton going to drop down to 179. At this rate, all signatures for both men are going to be 7 points. All finishers are going to be 15. So Orton is down to 179, and his head health will be down to 93. Keep rocking here. 2 over 2. Bret Hart going to take the opportunity to taunt now. So that will get him 219. One over 1. Randy Orton's going to recover a point. One. Okay, that is a roll, so that's another point recovered for Randy Orton. One over 2. Randy Orton's going to fight back here. He gets a 3, which is a finisher. Bret Hart will need a 1 or a 5 to reverse. And he does not get it. Randy Orton hitting Bret Hart with the RKO. That is also a head-focused move, so we need to see if Randy Orton will get a critical hit. He needs a 4 for it to be critical. And he does not get it. Okay. So Bret Hart is now going to be down to 204. And his head, which started out at 86, is now down to 71. That is also a pinfall attempt. Finishers are automatic pinfall attempts. So let's see here. Bret Hart will need a 2, 4, or a 6 to kick out. And he kicks out immediately. 2 over 2. Bret Hart's going to recover. Brings him up to 205. 2, 2. Going to recover some more. 1 over 2. Randy Orton right back on the attack. He's going to hit a signature move here. So out of his 27 signature moves, he's going to hit number 25. And what is that? He's going to hit some stomps. Okay. So as he's going to stomp he's going to stomp Bret Hart. So we need to see what he's targeting here. 1 will be for the head, 2 will be for the body, 3 will be for the arms, and 4 will be for the legs. And he's going to stomp at the legs. Okay. We're going to go to the coin. Heads will benefit Randy Orton. Tails will benefit Bret Hart. So every tail flip that's heads is an additional stomp. And then for Bret to counter, he'll just have to flip 1 tails. I believe that was not it. Hang on. Okay. So only one stomp to Bret Hart's leg. So that will bring Bret Hart's legs down to 93 from their 100. And he will suffer, that's the wrong one, he will suffer 7 points of damage, bringing his total down to 199. 2 over 1. Bret Hart going to fight back with a 5. That is a finisher. So let's see if Randy Orton can counter with a 2 or a 3. And he does not. Let's see if Bret Hart can make that a critical with a 4. He does not. Okay. So let's go back here. That will either be a sharpshooter or a pile driver. Both of which I feel would target Randy Orton's back. Maybe not the pile driver. We'll say the sharpshooter will target the back, not the pile driver though. Anyway, that was 1, so he's going to lock in the sharpshooter here. So finishing moves are very, very harmful. Submission moves, rather, are very, very harmful. They deliver a base point of... they do 15 points of base damage, and then with every flip of a coin, they have the possibility of adding another 7 points of damage. So for every time this turns up tails, that's an additional 7 points of damage for Bret Hart. Randy Orton needs 1 head flip in order to break out of the hole. So here we go. That's 1. Okay. So that will be 22 points towards Bret Hart. So that means 22 points from Randy Orton. That will bring him down to 159. And that will bring Randy's back down to 78. You could also argue that the sharpshooter focuses on the legs. However, I'm more inclined to go for whatever part of the body that bothers the opponent the most on these sorts of things. So for Randy Orton, that's going to target the back. No pinfall off of a submission. 2 over 1. Bret Hart still on the attack with a 3. That will be a signature. So out of 42, 15. What is number 15 for Bret Hart? A forearm club to the chest. Okay. Now, that will not be a critical because it's focusing the chest, not the back. But it will deliver 7 points of damage to Randy Orton. And also bring his torso health down from 78 to 71. 1 over 2. Randy Orton fighting back with a 2. That is a finisher. Let's see if Bret Hart can counter. 1 over 5. He does not. Let's see if it's a critical hit. That will be 4 for Randy Orton. And it is not. Okay. So another RKO to Bret Hart. That will bring his total points down to 184. His head was at 71. It is now down to 56. That is a pinfall attempt. Bret Hart will need a 2, 4, or a 6 to kick out. And he does. Okay, that might not even be a pinfall attempt when I do the write-up. Alright, moving along. 1 over 2. Randy Orton's still on the attack. He needs a 2 or a 3 to do another RKO. And it is not. Let's see what he does with his signatures. 27. Number 2. What is number 2? See if I can grab the tab this time. It's a backslide, so it's another pin attempt. Okay, so that will do no damage to Bret Hart. However, he'll have to kick out. 2, 4, or 6 will kick out. And he breaks out of it immediately. Good. Not sure if that registered. Okay, 1 and 1. So Randy Orton's going to taunt. He'll get 1 health point back. 153. 2. Bret Hart is going to recover. He's at 185. 2. Another recovery for Bret. 186. 2 over 1. Bret Hart fighting back with a 2. That is a signature. Number 12. What is number 12 for Bret Hart? An elbow to the knee. Okay. So for Randy, that'll bring him down to 146. Bring his legs down to 93. One for 1. Orton's gonna sell. Brings it up to 147. 1 over 2. Orton fighting back with a 2. That is a finisher. Let's see if Bret Hart can counter with a 1 over 5. Not sure if that registered. And he does. Okay. So Bret Hart's going to counter. He needs a 1 or a 5 for it to be a finisher. And it is not as simply a signature. So Bret Hart is now down to 4 reversals to 5 reversals for Randy Orton. Let's see what he counters with. 39. What is 39 on his list? He counters an RKO with a superplex. That takes some mental gymnastics, but it happened, I guess. Oh, that could be a critical since it targets the back. Let's see if Bret can hit a 4, and that'll be critical. And it's not. Okay. So Orton's back health will go down from 71 to 64. And his base will go down to 140. 2 over 2. Bret Hart's going to recover. 2 over 2. Another recovery for Bret. 1 over 2. The 1, that's a signature for Randy Orton. Do this one. Number 10. What's number 10 on his list? A forearm club to the back. Okay. So Bret Hart's back is now at 93. And that's 7 points off of his. One over 1. Randy Orton going to recover. 1 over 1. Another recovery. 1 over 2 with a 6. That is neither a finisher nor a critical. So that'll be another signature move. 26. What is 26 here? 26 is a superplex. That kind of rules. That kind of rules. I like that. So Bret Hart hits Randy Orton with the superplex. Randy Orton says, hey, my dad kind of invented that move. Let me show you how it's done. So Bret Hart, his back is now down to 86. His base health is down to 174. 1 over 2 with a 1. That is a signature from Randy Orton. $16. What is 16? 16 is a low blow. All right. So another 7 from Bret. And that brings his torso down to 80. No, he was at 86. It's now down to 79. One over 1. Randy Orton going to taunt. 143. 1 over 2 with a 2. That is a finisher. That is the RKO. Can Bret counter with 1 or a 5? He does. What does he hit? A 1 or a 5 will be a finisher. A 4 will be a critical. Or a high spot, rather. Okay, it's just a signature. 26 for Bret. What is that? The O'Connor roll. Okay, this is something that could happen. An RKO countered into an O'Connor roll. Very possible. No damage done, but Randy Orton needs a 1, 3, or 5 to kick out. And he does immediately. Good. 1 over 2. Orton hitting Bret with a 6. That is a signature. 26. That's the superplex, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. So since he already hit the superplex in this match, I'm going to give Bret Hart the opportunity to reverse. Bret needs a 1 or a 5 to reverse it. And he does not. So we're going back up to the top rope. Another superplex. Bret Hart is down to 160. His back now all the way down to 72. Two over 1. That might be an issue. Bret might be getting sick of these superplexes here. He rolls a 5. That is a finisher. Let's see if Orton can counter with the 2 or 3. And he does. Okay, so let's see what he countered. Whether it's the sharpshooter or the pile driver. It would have been the pile driver. Okay. So what does Randy counter with? Randy's reversals are now down to 4, tied with Bret. 2 or 3 will be a finisher. And no, it will be a signature. I would have laughed if that was the third superplex. That would have been ridiculous. What was that? 8. Okay. Okay, so he hits the elevator DDT. That's the rope hung DDT that Orton does. That targets the head. So let's see if it's a critical. And if it is, we'll see if Bret Hart can reverse. So Orton needs a 4. And he does not get it. Okay. So that will bring Bret Hart down to 153. And his head from 56 down to 49. Two over 2. Bret Hart's going to recover. Bret is also 3 recoveries away from regaining his last reversal. Meanwhile, Randy Orton is 2 away. 1 over 1. Make that 1 away for Randy. One over 1. And Randy Orton has his 5th reversal back. 1 over 1. Another recovery for Randy. 1 over 2. And with a finisher. Let's see if Bret can counter with a 1 or a 5. And he does. Okay. So Bret is now going to be down to 3 reversals. He counters the RKO. What does he counter it with? Is it a 1 or a 5? It is. So he's going to counter with the finisher of his own. Will it be the pile driver or will it be the sharpshooter? 1 for sharpshooter, 2 for pile driver. It is the pile driver. Let's see if Orton can counter. Orton will need a 2 or a 3. And he does. That's cool. Orton's down to 4 reversals. He needs a 2 or a 3 to reapply the RKO. And he does not. So what is he going to counter with? 27, 11. Head slam to mat. Okay. That targets the head. Let's see if it's critical. It is not. Okay. So Bret Hart's head is now down to 42. Base now down to 147. We are neck and neck. 2 over 2. Bret Hart's going to sell. Getting a little distance there. 2 more recoveries and Bret Hart regains a reversal. 1 over 1. Orton's going to taunt a little bit. He has 3 more before he regains his 5th. One over 1. We're all tied up. 2 over 2. Bret Hart says, stop following me. 1 more recovery for Bret, and he'll have his 4th reversal. Not sure if that registered. 1 over 1. 1 more, and Randy Orton will have his 5th. One over 2 with a 5. That is a signature. 22. What is 22? Single leg crab. Okay. So that is a submission here. So we'll go to this coin. That targets the legs. Heads will apply more pressure to the hold, do more damage. Tails will allow Bret Hart to reverse. So it's a base of 7 points of damage. And every coin flip that goes in Orton's favor will be an additional 3 points. Okay, that's 1. And 2. Okay, so that's 10 points of damage to Bret Hart. 39. And his legs are now from 93 down to 83. Two over 1. That's Bret attacking Orton. And it's a signature. 14. 14's hold. Figure 4. Oh, that's cool. Might be, might have countered that into a figure 4, knowing Bret. Alright, so same difference. Tails for Bret, heads for Orton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think that one registered. That one didn't either. 6, 7, 7. Okay, so 7 times 3, that's 21. 21 plus the base point of 7. That's 28 points. Yikes. Okay, 121. And 28 points from Orton's legs, which were at 93. That brings him down to, let's see, 65. 65. Now keep in mind, this is how Bret Hart won his match with Bryan Danielson. He wore his legs down so badly that it only took an elbow drop to the leg for the referee to say, hey, he can no longer walk. Bret Hart is your new champion. History could repeat itself, so we'll see. 2. Don't think that registered. Over 2. Okay. Bret Hart recovers 1 point. And he also recovers a reversal there. One over 2. We're going to come back. 1. That'll be a signature. 9. Number 9. That's Orton, right? Yep. European uppercut. That does target the head. Let's see if it's critical. Needs to be 4. 4 for it to be critical. And it is not. Okay. So that brings Bret's head down to 35. Which is not looking good either. And his base down to 133. 1 over 2 with a 5. That is another signature from Randy Orton. 6. What is number 6? A clothesline. Also targets the head, so let's see. Number 4. I don't think that registered. Alright, I think that one did register, so 7 points from Bret Hart. That brings him down to 126. His head now down to 28. Not looking good. 1 over 2 with a 6. That's another signature. 5. What is number 5? A chin lock. Slowing it down. It's a Randy Orton match. Actually, that could be a submission, so let's see. Heads for Orton, tails for Bret. And immediately. Okay. That targets the head. Head is now down to 21 for Bret. 1 over 1. 1 recovery for Randy Orton. Taking the lead for the first time in the matchup. 1 over 2. With a 5, that's another signature. Number 10. Forearm clip to the back. Let's see if he can reverse it. That's happened already in the match. 1 or 5 reverses. Going painfully slow for some reason. And he does. Okay. I don't know how that's a reversal. It's probably just a no-sell. Let's see what Bret Hart hits. A 1 or a 5 will be a finisher. A 4 will be a high spot. And it's a finisher. Okay. So let's see what it is. Go back to his tab. That will be the sharpshooter. That will target the lower back of Randy Orton. So let's see if he can counter with a 2 or a 3. And he does. So counter for Bret, he's down to 3 reversals. Counter for Orton, he's down to 3 reversals. Let's see what he counters with. A 2 or a 3 will be finisher. And it will be a finisher. Okay. Oh, I don't need to roll. It's just the RKO. Okay. Let's see if it's a... Let's see if Bret can counter with a 1 or a 5. He does not. Let's see if it's a critical with a roll of 4. And it is. Okay. So, that would be 15 points. A critical is double that, so 30 points from Bret Hart. He is now down to 89. His head health is now down to -9. Just not good. So that's a finisher. Let's see if he can kick out. He needs a 2, 4, or a 6. And he kicks out immediately. Let's see if the referee will stop the match. So we're going to go from 1 to 100. If it shows up any number from 1 to 9, the referee is going to call it, this match is over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 will stop this match. It is a 9. That is kind of shocking. Wow. Okay. I'll tell you what. The way the scoreboard is right now, we still have a lot of mileage out of this match. Bret Hart still has 3 reversals left. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give him 3 opportunities to reverse the RKO. He needs a 1 or a 5. If he does not get a 1 or a 5 in these next 3 rolls, this match is over and Randy Orton is the new KYR World Champion. 1, 2. Okay, so Bret Hart is going to expend 2 reversals. Actually, he already had 1. Okay, so Bret Hart is now out of reversals. But he does block the RKO. So his head health is no longer at -9. It is back up to 21. And his base health is now back up to 119. If something like that happens again, though, it's going to be nothing but bad news for Bret Hart. He is definitely going to lose the match. So, Bret Hart counters the RKO. Let's see what he counters with. A 1 or a 5 will be a finisher. That is a 2. That'll be a signature. 23. A leapfrog into a monkey flip. Okay. Could that target the back? Yeah, he could land on his back with that. Let's see if it's a critical. It is not. Okay. $115. And that brings Orton's injured back down from 64 to 57. I understand that decision to allow Bret Hart the rest of his reversals to counter the RKO could be controversial. I am trying to make this the best match possible. And also, Bret Hart is the heel. So, kind of makes sense. And also, I would afford the same opportunity to Randy Orton if the same thing were to occur. All right, 2 over 1 with a 2. That is a signature. 11. Let's see what 11 is. Oh, the dreaded elbow drop. The dreaded elbow drop that ended the match with Bryan Danielson. So, let's see what it's targeted at. A 1 is the head, a 2 is the back, a 3 is the arms, and 4 will be the legs. It's the head. Okay. So, that brings head health down to 86. Actually, since that did end the match, let's see if it's critical. Number 4 will be critical, and it's not. Okay. And then 7 from Orton, 108. 1 over 1, Orton's going to recover. And he's going to get 1 reversal back. So Orton is now at 4 reversals. Bret Hart has no reversals left. 2 over 2. 120 for Bret. He also needs 5 recoveries in order to get 1 reversal back. That is the first of his 5. 2 over 1 with a 2. That is a signature. No hotspots in this match so far. I hope that changes. 35. Small package, so that's pinfall attempt. No damage taken. Orton needs a 1, a 2, or no. He needs a 1, a 3, or a 5 in order to kick out. Also, just for argument's sake, if he did not kick out in these next 3 rolls, he has 4 reversals left. I would allow him the 4 reversals in order to kick out. 1, and he kicks out at 1. Alrighty. 1 over 1. That's 1 recovery for Randy. Two over 2. That's 1 recovery for Bret. Bret needs 3 more recoveries in order to get that reversal back. 1 over 2 with a signature. 6. I think we've hit 6 before. The clothesline, yep. Let's see if... Oh, no. He's definitely hitting this clothesline because Bret Hart doesn't have any more reversals. So a 4 will be a critical. And it is. So that is now 15 points from Bret. That has the power of a finisher. I know 7 plus 7 is not 15, but it does double. So technically signatures would be 7.5, but I'm not keeping track of half point values here. So that is 15 base points, 121 down to 106, and 15 base points from the head. 15 points from the head. That brings 21 down to 6. Bret Hart's head is at 6 points there. 1 over 2 with a 2. RKO. Bret Hart cannot counter. Let's see if it's critical. It is not, but that's still 15 points. 101, 91, 91 there. 6 minus 15. That brings Bret Hart right back to where he was at -9. Let's see if he kicks out. He needs a 2, 4, 6 to kick out. 1. And he kicks out at 1. Let's see if the referee stops the match. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 will stop this match. Okay, the match continues. 1 over 1. Randy Orton's going to recover. One over 1. Another recovery. 1 over 1. Another recovery. Really slowing things down. 2 over 2. Bret Hart also slowing things down. Who does the slow, methodical pace benefit in this match, do you think? Now, for me, when the dominant competitor takes his time, it allows everyone to catch their breath. 2 over 1. With a 2. That's a signature. Number 5. What is that? A clothesline from Bret now. So that's a base point of 7 from Orton. His head now down to 79. Wrong tab. There we go. 2 over 1 with another signature. Number 3. Nope, that's the wrong tab. Number 18. There we go. Hammerlock scoop slam. Okay, so that's going to focus on the arms for the first time. Let's see that does any damage to Randy Orton's shoulder. A 4 will be a critical, and it is not. So that's 7 from Orton. 99. And arms are down to 93. 2 over 1 with another signature. 38. What is 38? Sunset flip, that's pinfall attempt. Orton needs a 1, a 3, or a 5 to kick out. And he does. Two over 2. Bret Hart going to recover. He needs 1 more recovery and he'll get 1 reversal back. He may desperately need. 1 over 2 with a 1, that's a signature. And we did pre-roll that, so let's give it 3. Back suplex. So that brings Bret Hart's back down to 65. And his base health down to 86. Once these guys go below 75, their power will degrade. So finishers will be 10 points instead of 15. And their signatures will be 5 instead of 7. 2 over 1. That's 6. Let's see what that is. 34. What is 34? Sleeper hold. That's going to target the head. Let's see how much damage it does. Tails for Bret, heads for Orton. And Orton breaks out immediately. Good. Orton's head down to 72. Orton's base down to 92. 2 over 2. Bret Hart now has a reversal back. 1 reversal compared to 4 reversals for Randy Orton. 1 over 1. I spoke too soon. Randy Orton now has all 5 reversals. 1 point back. Oh, I didn't give Bret. There we go. 1 over 1. Another point back for Randy. 2 over 1. First high spot of the match. That's cool. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will do the damage of a finisher. Let's see what one it is. 4. Slingshot plancha. Okay. So Bret's going to dive out of the ring onto Orton here. Let's see if he can counter. 2 or 3. Actually, a 4 will counter. And he does not. Okay. So that is 15 points from Randy Orton. He's down to 79. I'm going to be honest, I'm not really sure what that targets, so... Would it target the back? If he's catching a guy? I'm going to say it targets the back. He's catching a guy. So, if this is a 4, we'll call that a critical. It's not. Okay. So, Orton's back goes from 57 down to 42. Still rather be his back than Bret Hart's head. Two or 2. Bret Hart gonna taunt a bit. Two over 1 with a signature. 31. It's 31. Schoolboy rolls him in, rolls him up. 2, 4, or 6 will kick out. 1. And it kicks out at 1. 2 over 1 with another high spot. Let's see what that one is. We cannot do the slingshot plancha. Instead, we are going to do, I believe that's a figure 4. Figure 4 around the ring post. Now, this will bring Randy Orton's health down below 75. That will degrade his moveset, so let's give him the opportunity to counter. He needs a 4 to counter since this is critical. And he does not. Okay. So figure four around the post. That's a base of 15. Every coin flip thereafter will add 7 points of damage. Heads for Orton will break the hold. Tails for Bret will add damage. And immediately broken. Good. Orton's legs are down to 50. Space point down to 64. 2 over 2. Another recovery for Bret. 1 over 1. 1 recovery for Randy. 2 over 2. Another recovery for Bret. 1 over 2. With a finisher, can Bret Hart counter with a 1 or a 5? Can this register? He does not. Okay. Is this a critical hit? Randy Orton needs a 4 for it to be critical. It is not, but that is 10 points of damage to Bret Hart. It is also 10 points of damage to the head. Bret Hart's head is now down to negative 19. I just wrote, okay, he's at 80 points. Okay, so that's a finisher. That's an automatic pinfall attempt. Okay, no pinfall attempt. If this is any number from 1 to 19, the referee is going to call the match by knockout. This match is over. And it is not. Bret Hart is still alive. He's still conscious. 1 over 2. A 2 or a 3 is a finisher. It's a 4. That's not a finisher. That is a critical hit from Randy Orton. So what's it going to be? It'll be the anti-air RKO, back suplex onto the announce table, a drop toe hold into the steel steps, the Garvin stomps, or the bunk kick. If it's a punt kick, that would be wild. Okay. It is not. It will be, I think that's a drop toe hold. Drop toe hold into the steel steps. Let's see if Bret can counter because that's going to focus on the head. Bret Hart needs a 4 to counter since that's critical. And he does. That is Bret Hart's last reversal. He needs 2 more recoveries if he wants to get a reversal back. Let's see what he counters with. A 1 or a 5 is a finisher. A 4 is a critical. He's going to counter with the finisher. And it'll be the pile driver. So that is 15 points from Randy Orton. That's a head move. So 15 points from 72. That brings us down to 57 on Orton's head. Honestly, if that's outside, let's see if it's critical. It's not. Okay. The padding is really, really good on the outside here. Okay, that is an automatic pinfall attempt. 1, 3, or 5 will kick out. And he does no pinfall attempt. 1 over 1. Going to recover 1 point. Randy Orton has 5 reversals. Bret Hart has no reversals left. 2 over 1. With the 2, that's a signature. 17. Hair pull slam. We've seen that before. We've seen that in this match. By the way, Randy Orton does not have hair. No, we saw the head mat slam. Okay, that's different. 44. Might just be grabbing him by the ears. And Orton's head is now down to 50. Compared to Bret Hart's head, which is at -19. If Bret Hart manages to win somehow, him going into his next match, it's not going to be a pretty sight. 2 over 1 with a 5, that is a finisher. Let's see if Randy can counter with a 2 or a 3. He does not. What is it though? It is the sharpshooter. So that'll be a base of 15. Tails for Bret, heads for Orton. Can it register? Alright, that's 1. Okay, so that's 22 points from Randy Orton. Brings him down to 22. Randy Orton's finishers are now worth 5 points. His signatures are now worth 3. Also, that targets the lower back. 22 points. Randy Orton's back is now at 20. 1 over 1. Randy Orton's going to recover. If he gets back up to 25, his health will be restored enough so that his power comes back a little bit. So his finisher will be back up to 10, and his signatures will be back up to 5. I don't think Randy Orton has hit one move since he's went below that initial power scale, though. Bret Hart going to recover. 81. Bret Hart gets one more recovery there. He will regain 1 reversal, which, as we just saw, is very, very important. 2 over 1 with a 1. That is a finisher. Can Randy Orton counter with a 2 or a 3? He does. Okay. He counters the sharpshooter. So his reversals are now down to 4. Bret Hart is defenseless against Randy Orton's next attack. A 2 or a 3 will be a finisher. A 4 will be a high spot. It is a signature. 7. What is 7? A diving crossbody. Kind of wild for that to be a counter to the sharpshooter, but okay. 78. And we'll say that focuses on the back. Bret Hart's back now to the 62. One over 2. 2 or 3 is a finisher. It is not. It's just a signature. Randy Orton mounting the comeback here. 6. Clothesline. That could be a critical, though. Is it? It is not. Okay. 75. And that focuses on the head. Bret Hart is now down to -22 on the head. And also, we need to see if the referee, if he's knocked out from that. So 1 to 22 will stop the match. And we're still going. 1 over 2. I think that registered, so that is a signature. 22. Single leg crab. Back to the single leg crab. Okay, so this will be 3 base points, and then every coin flip will be an additional 1 point. 1. Okay, so that's 4 points of health from Bret Hart. He is now down to 10 points for every finisher, 5 points for every signature. And his legs are now down to 79 health. Two over 1 with a 5. That is a finisher. That registered. Randy Orton needs a 2 or a 3 in order to counter. He does not. What move is that? Is the pile driver. So that is 10 points from Randy Orton. His head now down to 40 from 50. That is an automatic pinfall attempt. A 1, a 3, or a 5 will kick out. 1. I don't think that registered. 2. And he kicks out at 2. 1 over 1. Randy Orton's going to recover. One more recovery for either man will get them a reversal. 2 over 2. Bret Hart now has 1 reversal back. Two over 2. Bret Hart inching closer to that 75-point mark. That will get him more power for the sharpshooter, more power for the pile driver, and more power for all of his signatures. 1 over 2. Finisher. I spoke too soon. A 1 or a 5 from Bret will counter. He does not get it. Is it critical? Randy Orton needs a 4. It is not critical. So that is 5 points. Bret Hart does not have that many points. Bret Hart down to 68. His head down to negative 27. It's an automatic pinfall attempt. He needs a 2, 4, or 6 to kick out. 1. Kicks out at 1. Any number from 1 to 27 will end this match. Bret Hart is still alive. 1 over 1. Randy Orton going to recover his final reversal. It's back up to 5. Also going to recover 1 point. 1 for 1. Another point for Randy. One over 2. A 2 or a 3 will be a finisher. It's not a finisher. It's a signature. 21. So do 3 points of damage. Scoop power slam. So that'll bring Bret's back down to 59. And his base down to 65. 2 over 2. Bret Hart going to recover 1 point. Two over 1. That's a signature. 37. 37. He's going to deliver some stomps here. Where are the stomps heading? Where are they heading? That'll be to the torso. 1 would have been to the head. 2 is to the back. 3 would be to the legs, or the arms rather. 4 would be to the legs. Is it critical? You need a 4 since it's targeting the back. It is not. Okay. Alright. Bret will hit 1 stomp. Every tails will be an additional stomp. A heads will be the end of it. 1. 2. Okay, 3 stomps to the back of Orton. So where he is That'll be 15 points. Orton is down to 1. His back down to 5. Not looking good for Randy, but Bret Hart's head is also the story. He is at negative 27 points. If Randy Orton hits even a punch to the head, this match could be over. 1 over 2. A 2 or a 3 is a finisher. It is. RKO incoming unless Bret Hart can counter with his final reversal. A 1 or a 5 will reverse. And he does. Incredible. Incredible. Bret Hart out of reversals, but he does have control. What is he countering with? A 2, that is a signature. Randy Orton will also get a reversal here since he is so low on health. And it'll be a sunset flip. It's kind of a waste for him to counter. But it will give him control back. Okay, so a 2 or a 3 will reverse it. And he does reverse it. Randy Orton now has control. Whatever he hits next, Bret Hart has no defense against. A 2 or 3 is a finisher. And it is the RKO. That is 5 points from Bret. His head is now down to negative 32. Could this be the end of the match? No pinfall. 1 to 32 will end the match. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new champion. Randy Orton, after maybe getting screwed earlier in the match, is now champion. Thanks to referee stoppage. The final RKO, knocking Bret Hart out. Randy Orton, new KYR World Champion in his hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. The final breakdown for all of his stats: his head is at 40, his back is at 5, his legs are at 50, and his arms are at 93. By the time that he defends the World Championship at the next pay-per-view, he should be fully recovered. So it could be argued that the thing that took Bret Hart out was his head being damaged in the match with Bryan Danielson. That will not be the case for Randy Orton. He will be at 100% health on his head, back, legs, and arms. So, with 1 point left, Randy Orton wins the match. Thank you all for watching, if you're there. If you're not, this will be written up and posted to the KYR Booking subreddit. And that's about all I have. And yeah, so that's it. Randy Orton, new champion. We do have plans for the next pay-per-view. I will say, no matter who won this match, it was going to be the same challenger. That was not going to be the case if Bryan Danielson won his match against Bret Hart. If Bryan Danielson had won, I was actually going to have Bryan Danielson versus Kane, because Kane debuted in St. Louis, Missouri at Bad Blood 97 when he interfered with the Hell in a Cell match with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. So that is not the case for the next show. The next show, I'll give you a minor spoiler. The next show is going to be called Shipping Up, and I will leave the location to be determined. But that is a big hint, and it's also a hint of who Randy Orton's opponent could be. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Randy Orton, new KYR World Champion. I will see you on the next show. Thank you, and goodbye.